Okay, so we have the timing gun set up onto the battery, onto the spark plug number 1 HT lead. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're back out on the Porsche 924. You would have seen from my previous videos that I've been wrestling the timing belt on and off the car, but I'm happy to say that I will not be removing the timing belt anymore, which allows me to get on to the final step of the timing, which is using one of these, a strobe light, to actually get the car running as good as possible. So setting the timing using this is a few steps to take. It's pretty simple, it doesn't take long as a job, but it's well worth doing if you do have one of these. You can rent them or buy them pretty cheap, they're about 20 quid to do. So if your love is a classic old car, then this is a good thing to have in your toolbox. So let's get out there and start setting this timing. Okay, so I thought I would just run through very quickly some of the details in terms of the setup that we're looking to achieve when we get the gun, the timing gun on the car. So let's just firstly have a look at the gun itself. You've got positive and negative, which connect to the batteries, and then this this part here just simply clips on to spark plug number 1 HT line. Okay, so that then allows you to power up and then pull the trigger, and your flash comes out of the end. Now the idea being is that here you can just see a little picture, and we'll look at this on the car, on the side of the bell housing in the engine bay, just on the left hand side. So if you were looking at your front window, sat in the driver's side, you're on the left hand side of the bell housing, you will find a small opening where you will be able to see your flywheel, and there should be a mark on it against the tooths that has a plus. Now in the book it says that there's 3 tooths. It's the middle tooth that should line up with that that little mark that just sticks out there, which is a part of the housing. So ultimately, that will allow you to see if everything is aligned perfectly. Now when reading this, what's interesting, it says here that that you should set it for about 10% before top dead center. Sorry, 10%, 10 degrees before top dead center. Now the 10 degrees is really the ignition syncing with the opening and closing of your valves, and your piston in the right place as it goes through the combustion stroke. It does say here down in the print here that removing the vacuum hose from the distributor, and so that is a good thing to know when you do this one. But when I was actually looking at the engine specs as well, because it does say to check the specs, so it suggested there 10 degrees before top dead center. When you look at the engine specs here, and we're just looking, we've got the 1976 to 77 2-litre US market. We've got the 1980 US market onwards. We've got then here the 1976 onwards European market, which is my engine. And when we look here at the timing, intake valve opens at 6 degrees before top dead center. So dilemma, I guess, which is the right one? At the back of the book it says set the 3 marks, take the middle mark, which should align with that part on the bell housing, which gives you about 10 degrees before top dead center. Here it says 6 degrees. Now I guess you can just slowly, and I mean very slowly, turn the distributor to get as close to the center mark as possible. I know there's things you can do to advance or retard the timing. I want to try and get it as close to factory spec as possible. So we'll get out there, we'll put the timing light on, and we'll have a look to see how close the center mark is, and to see if we've actually got a plus sign as well, because I have a funny, sneaky suspicion that I'm not going to see a plus sign or that line, because you're hoping that, you're hoping that the lines have survived, 36 years. So you should see a plus and a clear line that aligns to that marking on the bell housing. So anyway, let's go out and see if this works. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is start the engine and get it to normal operating temperature. So let's turn the key and get the engine running. Okay, so we have the timing gun set up onto the battery, onto the spark plug number 1 HT lead, and if you can just make out here, that works okay and zooms in. Let's see, firstly there's the hole into the bell housing where you will see the teeth of the starter, but what we're actually looking for is that line that was in the book that suggested. And if you can just make out there, it looks like there's a long line which is just below the bell housing line on the right hand side, and just above it, it looks like it's the number 6. So yeah, it's a bizarre one. So it would suggest maybe the 6 degrees is the right number for this engine, but the longer line there is the line that should really be lining up with the bell housing, so it looks like it might be a degree or so out. The small line above it is actually the cross or the plus sign, which again was stated in the book. So let's get the engine started and get the timing light on this, and then what you ultimately have to do, I'll just come round, is loosen off this bolt here, which is the clamp for the distributor, and then slowly just twist the distributor until we can see that line down there line up as close as possible to the mark on the bell housing. So let's see if we can get this done. Okay, so we have timed the engine to, I guess, the best possible point. Now, if I can just zoom in very quickly there, you will see that white mark, which I believe is from a previous owner who has had this engine timed. And it spins 180, so that mark can either be at the bottom of the bell housing where you have another cover where you can look inside to check all the alignment, equally here as well. So the mark that we were looking at previously is 180 degrees from this mark, so it's very hard to see the previous mark as the engine is turning. It's virtually invisible under the light. This one does work a little bit. Again, both very hard to see. So what I can say is that this before I did the timing, I turned the engine over a couple of times and this mark kept appearing just slightly down from the line that we're looking at here on the bell housing. So the tune that I've done has moved that white line up slightly, and all is running well. It looks and sounds good. So what I'm going to do now is take it for a drive and just hopefully make sure that everything is working as it should. So let's go. Okay, so join me out on the road, giving this 5,000, 6,000 revs, third gear, 6,000 revs into fourth. Everything is working well. She's flying. Yeah, so I think timing wise it is difficult. I mean, you heard the engine there going up to sort of 6,000 revs. The peak power on these engines is about 5,800 revs, which gives you the 125 brake horsepower. That's what it says in the book. I doubt that I've got 125 brake horsepower on tap after 36 years, but she certainly goes okay. It's very mechanical, as you've seen in previous videos when you do accelerate, so you hear everything, and if there was something majorly wrong with the timing, it would definitely sound through the noise of the engine and yeah, just the general, I guess, response as you accelerate up through the RPM. So pleased to say it's all working. So with that, thanks again for watching. I hope it's been useful, just going through those steps of how to time your 2-litre non-turboed engine. It might be slightly similar to the turboed engines, I'm sure. It's all in the book if you do need it in Haynes. But with that, please subscribe if you like the videos on the 924 so you don't miss any more, and I will certainly be doing more of them in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching.